Oh, hello and welcome back. I thought what I might do is do a simple video on how to find financial statement information on the internet. Some of you may already be familiar with this, but many of you may not. So I thought it'd be helpful here to get us all on the same page. So I'm going to start by looking at Walmart.com and look at their information. So when you go to Walmart.com or most websites, you're going to get the website that they think the public wants to see with respect to things they're selling and ways to buy stuff and the information about their products. And in fact, their website here, www.walmart.com, is a retail site. If I click on any of these items up here, I'm going to get information about stuff that Walmart sells. For instance, the departments tells me the departments that they have, savings and featured, whatever. Services, I've got information about the services they offer to their customers. I've got nothing in here that tells me about financial statements. But for most companies, what I need to do, if I want to find out information about financial statements, I need to go all the way to the bottom of the page. And when I do that for Walmart, I've got down here at the bottom some information and some other words. These are all hot linked items, and they will take me to various other sites that Walmart publishes. And I'm going to go to the site that says Our Company. You might look for investor information or for investor relations. You might look for just about. In this case, they have Our Company. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to take me to a different website. And if you notice up here, it's https://corporate.walmart.com. This is kind of a pretty similar to the way many companies will do it. And across the top, you've got different options here. I want to go to Investors. And when I go to Investors, I'm going to go down to Financial Information. I could just click right on Investors, and it's going to take me here. And then I'm going to look at Investor Information. I'm going to go to Financials. And I'm going to go to, it's going to ask me here what kind of information I want, and I'm going to get the SEC filings. So then when I get to the SEC filings, it's going to ask me for this year, for 2022, and I could pick other years. 2022, what type I want the annual filings. And for annual filings, it's going to give me the 10K. If I went for 2021, and I did annual filings, it's going to give me the 10K for 2021. I might also want proxy information for the annual, and there's some information there if we wanted proxy statements. So I go to annual filings, and I've got the financial statements. Now I can open them up in a PDF format, which is often what I do when I'm trying to show something to students. But this format is limited. What you get when you open this format, you're going to get the 10K site, and then you're going to scroll down and you're going to have a table of contents. For most PDFs, this table of contents will be hot linked, and so you've got a lot of information in the management discussion and analysis, but item 8 is always going to be financial statements and supplementary information. Now what's included there? It's going to be your information about, well, that didn't take me where I wanted to go. Let's go back. If I click on, let's try this again, PDF, and I go all the way to the top, and I go down to item 8, which is financial statements. And there it is. Okay. So for some reason it didn't take me there the first time. So you've got some information here, and part of the information we have is information about the report. The auditor's report is the auditor's report for the financial statements. This is the auditor's report for the internal control. Here's the statement of income. All the different statements. They have statement of income, statement of comprehensive income, balance sheet, etc. So if I click on any one of these, it takes me to the financial statement, and I can now look at it. I see we had $13,673,000,000 in net income for 2022. This may not be useful to me though, because it's in PDF format. What's interesting is most companies will also give you information in an Excel format. So here's an XLS format, and if I click on that, it's going to open it up in my browser. Now the reason it opens it up into my browser is because I'm using the Microsoft browser. You can see here. If I used the Google Chrome browser, it would actually just download the file. It wouldn't actually open it up. But I can download the file here, and I want to do that because I want to show you something. So I'm going to download the file, and it's going to open that file up for me right here. And so I can click on it and edit it, and here's why it's interesting. So I can go down and I can find, these are all the tables that are in the 10K, and here's the income statement. So I can click on income statement, and I can now do some analyses on these numbers because they're already in Excel format. So for example, I can, if I wanted to check how much things increased from 2021 to 2022, I can simply put in a formula equals my 2022 number minus my 2021 number, divide it by my 2021 number, and I get a number. Whoop. What did I? Oh, I see. I got an extra semicolon in there somehow. And so there's my. And I could actually convert that to a number. I'm going to go up here and convert that to a percentage actually, and it's 2.26%. And I could also do that for the other number. For 20 to 21, I could say equals 2021 minus 2020 divided by 2020. And again, I might convert that to a percentage. And you can see the sales increased in 2000 from 20 to 21 much more than they did from 21 to 22. Remember, in 20 we were heavily in the COVID pandemic. 21 we started to come out of that and people started to shop again, and that shopping has increased but not as much. If I wanted to look at something like gross margin percentage, I could do the same thing. Now there is no gross margin percentage, but because I'm sitting in a in Excel format, I can simply insert a row and I could call it gross margin percentage or gross margin. I could actually create a gross margin line. And I could go over here and say my gross margin is my total revenues minus my cost of sales. And I could copy that right across the other years. And now I can simply do a percentage change. I can actually just copy that formula down there. That line right there. And I can move it over here as well. And we can see the gross margin percentage in 2000 and from 2020 to 2021 is 7.33%. Gross margin percentage from 21 to 22 is 3.54%. So we would want to look and see what's driving that, what's causing the fact our gross margin percentage is going down. That might bother us a little bit, right? Those are just a couple of examples of how we can use the information when we download it in an Excel format. What I want to show you is that sometimes this information is not as clean as we might like. So if I go up here to this and I go to Microsoft, and I've got the same situation, I can't find the information I want, but if I scroll down to the bottom, I can find the information I want, and it's going to be over here under Company, and I'm going to click on Investors. And it's going to look very similar to what we saw. I can go up here and I can say I want to look at annual reports or SEC filings. And when I do that, it's going to give me something similar to what we saw with Walmart. But if I go to annual filings, and if I go to just 2022, click filter, I've got the 10K, there it is. Again, I can open the PDF file, but what I want to do is open up the Excel file to show you something. And that is that it's not as easy to find the information in the Excel file. First of all, they don't have a table of contents, which is kind of a pain in the neck, right? So I don't really know where to go. I can scroll over here and I can find some information, but when I look for the information for the income statement information, I'm not finding it under item A. Actually, under item 8, I wouldn't expect to find it. But this is my income statement. It's not labeled as such, so it's kind of sloppy. But this is the income statement information. Here's my revenues. Here's my cost of revenue. My gross margin. Again, it's in Excel format. but it looks kind of messy, right? It's not nearly as nice and neat as it was for Walmart. And in fact, though, if I look at the balance sheet doesn't look too bad. Balance sheet looks kind of organized, but I'm going to tell you, when you go back here, that doesn't say income statement on the tab, does it? But that's what it is. You have to head to hunt to find it. So with Apple or with Microsoft, it was much more difficult to find the information I was looking for than it was with Walmart. The final thing I want to show you is how to access this information if I am wanting to look for it on the SEC's website. So we're going to go to sec.gov, and when we go to SEC, we're going to go to their Edgar search engine. So we're going to click on, the next thing we're going to click on is Filings, and when I click on Filings, I can go down to specific, or I can just click on Filings. It's going to take me there. I'm going to go to Search for Company Filings. And when I search for company filings, I can then do I can choose what kind of search I'm going to use. I'm going to use a full text search. And I'm going to type in Walmart. And it's going to give me what I want. There's Walmart Inc., WMT. Now I can choose at this screen, I can choose, if I want to look at a specific document, I can look for it. I can just choose all. I can choose annual. Actually, it says what do I want. I can choose all annual, quarterly, and current reports. And it gives me all those for actually the last 5 years. I can narrow that if I wish. My 10K is going to be, let's see if I can find my 10K for 2022, and actually I don't think it's out yet. So we have to go to 2021. And there's, let's see, the 10K for 2021. There it is right there. Actually, it came out on March. So there's the annual 10K for Walmart. And I click on it. There's the same information we saw earlier, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to open this document. It's in it. Just gives me sort of a internet WMT file here. It just opens it directly on the internet. Again, I go to item 8 for my financial statements, and there's my auditor reports. Here's my information. Same information: 13,673,000,000 in net income, but it's a little more laid out. But it's not in Excel format, so it would be much more difficult to use this information than it would be if I just went directly to the website and downloaded the Excel file. So anyway, that's just an example of some things you can do to find financial statement information on the internet.